What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Corvette Weekly. Welcome back to the show where everything and anything is Corvette is the topic. We got the guy who lives Corvette every day here with us again. So you guys liked whenever Rick was on the live last time, so I asked him to be on again, and he was nice enough to say okay. So thanks for coming on here, Rick.
No, thank you for asking. And not only do I live Corvette, I sleep it. I'm actually on my couch. I just don't have my pillow right now.
Yeah.
Good to see you, man.
I told him off camera, I said, you need to just set up a cot in there. You're in there all the time anyway, so might as well just spend the night.
This couch is so comfortable. You were at my office one time.
Mm-hmm.
This couch is, oh my gosh, I think this thing's like 28 years old. It looks like it's brand new. I paid $500 for this at one of those wholesale clubs. It's just been the best value I ever bought in my life. Nice. I love this thing.
Nice. All right, so guys, we do have Rick here for a reason outside of just being another pretty face on the live videos. He's gonna, we're gonna bounce Corvette ideas off each other. I think that's what you guys really liked about the about having him on before. It's just two Corvette guys talking Corvettes. So we're gonna be getting a lot of information from him, or just bouncing information around, I should say. Also, yeah, Shane's in the house, guys. So smash those thumbs up buttons. Don't let Shane down. He is here. He's not here often anymore because he works so much. But when he's here, he wants to see those thumbs ups go way up. Before we get too much into anything here, guys, I do want to talk about the giveaway because you guys know the giveaway is still going tonight. So $10 is an entry. $50 or more is double entries. And of course, that is going to enter you in to win the custom painted intake from David at DBM Racing, and this is what you're going to get. Any color your brain can think of. It doesn't have to be anything limited to Corvette only, but it could be. So if you want it to be, like in my case, Seawolf Gray, that's what mine's going to be. If you want yours to be Torch Red or Neon Pink, you can get that. So these are typically around $3,000, guys. You can get them for significantly less tonight whenever we do give them away at the end of January, that is. You can get them for way less than the $3,000. So if you want to jump in on the giveaway, every $10 is an entry, $50 or more, double entries. And if we do hit that $3,500 mark, of course, we're going to give away that free clear cover for the convertibles as well. So even convertible guys can enjoy these things. Don't wait on this, guys. I'm telling you, get in while you can, because it's going to get wild. So me and Rick,
I'll tell you what, Justin. I was at Carlisle and I saw his booth, and it wasn't just the intake part that he was painting. It was some other little pieces part, so it looks like it just finished off. But the ability and just the craftsmanship that he does on those, it's a shame that GM has not done that, to offer that, and all the exterior colors. And that's that little accent that makes all the difference, especially on a Z06, especially with that motor. Yep. So hats off to DBM, man. They do a great job, really do.
Absolutely. So guys, again, the paint, what Rick is referring to there is the black painted throttle bodies as well. Yes. So there's kind of a two-parter to this, because number one, the black painted throttle bodies look awesome, but what painting them also does is prevents them from ever corroding and looking bad. So right off the bat, not only are you getting a super clean painted intake, but the throttle bodies can be painted black or whatever color you want. If you want to do neon pink and white down the center on those throttle bars, you can do that. That's the beauty of this custom setup, is you can do them whatever color you want. Again, guys, get in on this giveaway while you can. And if you're watching this after the fact, if it's not live anymore, you can still donate to my Venmo. It's just Horsepower Obsessed. Let me know what the donation's for, and I'll make sure you get entered either way. If you can't watch live, I understand. Either way, you can get in on this. So anyway, guys, let's start with kind of the big topic for the night, which is actually not even what was on the thumbnail or the title. I know. But you guys saw my video yesterday, I'm sure. The 6.7 liter engine for the Grand Sport, Stingray, and probably the E-Ray is very likely at this point to have cylinder deactivation. I found some trademarks or whatever. I can't remember exactly what they were, but they were over at the GM Authority, and they were like patents basically showing a new form of cylinder deactivation that was very likely coming for the Generation 6 small block, which is the 6.7 liter engine. Now, Rick has something that he's going to talk about in a second that pretty much confirms that that is going to be the case, because he's got another piece of information about this engine that's just as disappointing. So, Rick, go ahead and take that one away.
Gee, thanks. What a great intro. But you know, it's funny.
Right.
I just make a quick comment, you know, and it's no disrespect to you. You guys get to do videos on this topic that I broke the LS6 engine and all the order codes and stuff. I had all those order codes. I just didn't want to do any of those videos. I didn't want any more heat. Allow GM to do their thing because, you know, it's hard for me being on YouTube and also being a sales representative and working for a Chevrolet dealership. I got to really dance that fine line. But I know that people seek information and they want to get information from people that are really truly involved in the car, not just flippantly saying something or guessing at something or just want to make a video for clickbait. So I mean, you guys benefit, had some great views, but the market wants to know what's going on. So on your channel I can share sometimes maybe a little a little stuff that I probably shouldn't. In regards to that cylinder deactivation, you're probably right, because what I found out, and I was doing some research on some cars that are built for 2027. I won't go into too much detail there, but it looks like what it does. The 6.7 liter is going to have auto stop start.
That's exactly my
Sorry.
reaction, man.
Yeah, if we had a sound effect, we'd put that in there. You know, it's just, yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I mean, I know it's on E-Ray now, and you can bypass it and turn it off, but just having it there is, I think, a nuisance. I'm sure there's a reason from engineering why they put it there. I'll be curious when they announce the official details on that motor, why they did, you know, elect to put that on the car. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I know from owners and enthusiasts, we just don't really care for that. You know, I drive demo Silverados and stuff like that, and I always turn the feature off. I just don't care for it personally.
As long as they implement that particular part the way that they have in the past, there's a pretty easy way to get around that. I installed something on my wife's Cadillac way back in the day that was literally just this little harness that plugged into the negative battery terminal and it turned it off all the time. And I was like,
Oh,
that's cool, I guess. But at the same time, it's like the start stop I get, and so do I get cylinder deactivation too on cars that aren't high end performance cars. Like if that's on a
right,
Chevy Cruze or even some of the, 6-cylinder trucks, 4-cylinder trucks, I get it. But not on an engine that you're literally trying to squeeze as much horsepower as possible out of. It's just a recipe for disaster. I'm sure it's a EPA thing. I said that in the video. I'm sure it's EPA. I doubt Chevy just
right.
took it amongst themselves to do this, but man, it is disappointing.
Yeah, it's about, I mean, I remember when I got my 2021, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm in touring mode, and right out of the gate, I was getting 32, 33,
Mhm.
34 miles to the gallon on the highway. I'm like, okay, well, that's great, but you know, that's not really what you buy a Corvette for.
Right. Well, somebody
Right.
had, somebody had mentioned that on my video too in the comment section where they were saying, I like getting this fuel mileage. I said, I have a C7 ZR1. Whenever I bought that car and I drove it back from Virginia, I was averaging 25 miles per gallon. That's not a
Oh,
cylinder
wow.
deactivation car. So
Right.
90% of your good gas mileage isn't really coming from cylinder deactivation. I did some research on it and it said that it's basically between 4 to like 8% uh improvement in miles per gallon. And it's like that's not that much. I mean, you're talking about a pretty low amount of extra gas out of a car just because you're adding all this complexity in. I don't know.
Right.
Don't like it.
Right. Well, I can tell you this, though. My last session, the last race of the day at pit race, in track mode and PTM sport, I got 4.5 miles to the gallon.
There you go. That's the way to do it. It's all about smiles per gallon. Who cares about the
That's
miles?
right, man. That's right.
I
I used a full tank of gas that day, dude.
I know when we were at Ron Fellows, they were filling up the Corvettes. Every time you took a break, they're filling up the Corvettes. And the
Right.
Z06, at one point I get in and I see a full bar, like showing it's a full tank of gas, and it says 38 miles till empty. And I'm like, my God. Like those cars are getting driven.
That's right. Hey, what are you doing this weekend, man? We got a little autocross thing going on at NCM Motorsports Park, and
NCM.
it's just open autocross, $50 all day. Drive any car, your car, multiple runs. I think it starts like at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, goes up to 4 or 5. And I got a little challenge going on with the folks at Paragon. They've got a new guy there named Chance, and I guess he's got an SCCA medal that's really cute. And he says he's coming out there to beat me. So you're welcome to join us if you'd like to come out.
I'll definitely look into that. That'd be awesome.
Okay, cool.
You're going to the Bash, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I after last year, I almost honestly was not going to go, and I'm like, I never saw people complain. I
Yeah.
mean, just so boisterous that they're so frustrated. I drove from Oklahoma, I drove from Texas, I flew from California, and didn't. And it wasn't that besides the fact that we didn't get the information that we were looking for, it was the way that some of the people underneath the canopy were talking to the customers. It's day two. There's no hint of any 26 information out there, colors, displays, features. And somebody just said, "Hey, excuse me, that's what those guys are there for. Are we going to see any 26 information?" And he goes, "Don't count on it."
Wow.
Pardon me? What do you don't what?
Yeah. What do you think we're here for?
They need to get a little checkup from the neck up. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, yeah, I'm going to be there because I've went to everyone except for one because my son was in the hospital that one year. But yeah, I'd like to go there, not only just to get content and get new information, but really just to mingle with people from all over the country. It's a great connection for sure.
Yep. So, guys, there's a reason I'm asking him about this, and that's because today actually opened the registration for the NCM Bash. So, if you guys want to go ahead and jump in on this, get registered because Rick's obviously going to be there. I'll be there. I'll probably come down with my normal caravan of Corvettes, which is always appreciated. Kevin Horan, Dan Seawolf in the comments here. He goes. We'll see if we can get some additional people to go this time too. I'd like to roll down there with like 10 Corvettes. That'd be pretty fun. But either way, if you guys are interested in going, the registration's open as of today, so go get registered. It looks like we got 2 additional entries for the intakes tonight. So we got James and another one from Jay. So you guys have been added in. You're tallied up here. So again, guys, if you are interested in grabbing one of these custom painted intakes, the ones I'm showing you here are just examples. You can choose whatever color you would like. And yes, there has already been a Roswell green color painted. And
look at that.
Look how
cool my God, does that look freaking great, man. Right? Wow. Yeah.
So, and then of course you got the classics, the torch red in there. There was actually a tech bronze done as well. So you literally the sky's the limit, guys, and they look amazing.
The green one is hot, dude. I love the green one. Wow,
it is.
Yeah, look at that. Oh my gosh, that's great.
It looks awesome in the car too. So that's the best part. This thing is going to make your engine bay look like it should. And I've talked to David a lot about this, and even Rick kind of brought it up quickly. Was why didn't GM do this? And I still don't really know. It's other than the fact that it's just one extra thing and they're obviously already having trouble keeping up with demand on stuff. That's the only thing I can think, because they could have charged $5,000 for that option and almost everybody is going to check that box. So, I mean, they're literally just...
When I'm ordering the car, you guys are building the car online. You see people get confused from the Chevy.com configurator. There's pages and pages and pages of accessories. So if that's your focus, then why haven't you finished it and offered more things that would be available for customization? Because a lot of times people have done this afterwards, like David's doing now, and then they take a page from the aftermarket guys and then do it themselves.
Yep.
It's happened many, many times over the years and over the generations of Corvette. And I'm just shocked that they haven't stepped that up. And even for the Stingrays and the E-Rays, that engine cover should be available in every exterior color of the car, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's even easier on the Stingray and E-Rays because you could just take a bunch of them and paint them and then just offer them later as a... drawing a blank on the term now, but basically have the dealer install it.
Sure, right. LPO.
LPO, yeah. So yeah, Ricky asks, are you driving down again for the Bash, Justin? And I'm still kind of on the fence, but I'm leaning towards probably driving again. Mark, as far as your ZR1 intake, I would be willing to bet he could do that. Let's talk. Actually, that would be really cool. So I'll give you a call after the live is over here.
Cool.
Let's see. Yes, so somebody asked about Ron Fellows. I do have another trip to Ron Fellows because I got the Seawolf Gray Z06. I will be going. I'll let you guys know when I go. That way we can all kind of, form a thing and go together. Yeah, Ricky, if you want to drive down with us, where are you from? Was it Michigan? I want to say you said Michigan. If you're from Michigan, that would absolutely work if you want to do that. Brad Chili Pepper says, "Hey Rick, my 3-year factory warranty on my Z06 expired today. What to do?"
If you're keeping the car, get extended warranty, man. Don't gamble. Don't gamble. I got the Ally Major Guard on my car, and I love it, and I've used it twice and not had a problem.
What have you used it on?
Just a couple small ancillary things. I mean, they were just minimal, but it was great. Actually, I thought I was going to have to use it on the axle that I broke, but that was covered under the powertrain, so I was thankful for that. When I broke that, when I was out there screwing around doing the portable dyno thing last summer in Detroit, and they covered it under the powertrain, so
Which
I was getting ready to claim that, but I'm good.
which axle? Wasn't the right one, was it?
I was on the passenger side, yes.
Same one I broke. And a Stingray too.
Yeah.
I did it at a drag strip though. I went to launch it and it broke the right. The right one must be weaker than the left one because everyone I see
Well,
break one, it's
I
always
broke
the
the
right.
left one too, though.
Oh, you
I
did?
broke the left one
Okay.
in my 21, and it's I was still new in the car, and I'm just all excited. And I'm rushing the process, trying to do launch control. Wasn't on a track, or else they wouldn't have covered it. And my son was with me filming, and as soon as I accelerated, you heard this big giant pop,
Yep.
and he goes, "Dad, what the hell was that?" And I go, "I don't know." I said it wasn't good, and we started. I was 5 miles from the dealership, and a huge, major thunderstorm's coming.
Cool.
So I wasn't waiting for a tow truck driver to come and have my car open and get sopping wet. So I'm cruising around at 8 miles an hour and hear clunk, 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 and it was horrible. And then Ryan calls me and he goes, "Dad, there's some balls that fell out underneath her." I go, "Those are bearings."
Yeah.
What?
That's
I
funny.
drove it all the way back to the dealership, and Chuck, our mechanic, he yelled, or technician, excuse me, he yelled at me. He says, "Do you know how stupid that was?" He goes, "That shaft could have went right up into the transmission." He goes, "And that wouldn't have been covered." He goes, Don't do it ever do that again." I said, "Okay."
I would have done the same thing. So I guess that's just how we are. But
Yeah.
that's interesting because I did break mine at a drag strip.
Yeah.
I called OnStar. They brought out, or no, I called OnStar, but for some reason the dealership wasn't open. It was a Sunday. They weren't open,
Okay.
and for some reason I couldn't get OnStar to send a tow truck. So I just called a tow company. I paid for it, and then
Right.
GM reimbursed me later. But they knew I was on a drag strip, and they still covered that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was told they probably wouldn't have done it because I was getting ready to do a drag race, and it just my fear. You might be. I don't want to steal what we're going to talk about later, but yeah, I think it was in your thumbnail and
Yeah.
title about that ZR1 that crashed at the drag strip, and that's exactly my fear and
100%.
why I'd rather be on a road course. I'm like, exactly what happened. That guy's like, "Oh my god!" And the day I was going to go, I went down there, and actually I was in line to run, and it was still an hour and a half wait, and I'm like. I've already been waiting an hour and a half. I'm like, God, I'm not waiting another hour and a half. And sure enough, my buddy that had his car, exactly now, not what happened to the ZR1, but he was driving, and I was worried about another guy coming in the lane. That's exactly what happened. And lo and behold, it was a Mustang. Sorry, Mustang guys. He
Yeah.
lost control. He swung over, hit the wall, came back over and hit the back end and totaled my customer's car. And I'm like, and
Ouch.
I just had that weird, I just had that
Yep.
sense and that weird feeling.
Yep.
And I had that weird feeling like something was going to happen. And I'm glad it didn't happen to me. I felt bad for him. We actually did a video on that a couple of years ago. But I just the drag strip thing is cool, but I guess for me, it's that instant gratification is not enough. I like the nuance of the road course and the autocross and the finesse and the challenges and really understanding how to handle the car in different situations and the setup and the lines that you're working on it and you progressively get better and better and better. I feel more connected to the car rather than just hanging on and
Yeah.
going as fast as you
And I
can.
mean, the Corvettes are
That's just me.
Corvettes are built to do road courses.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not built for the drag strip. So even though it can do the drag strip and it does it pretty well, and the only reason I really do anything with the drag strip is because I'm like 30 minutes from a pretty good one here.
sure, that's
Actually,
cool.
you might know Keystone, right? Keystone's
Yeah,
right up
yeah,
by, not too far from Pit Race. So that's the only reason I've ever even done it. And I really, at the time, the C8 Stingray was so new, people were like, any kind of content for it was good. So I was like, I'll go to the drag strip. And I went like 3 or 4 different times and it was all fine until that very last time. And I had the same kind of feeling. I was like, I remember I had my GoPro going and I did a little bit of a burnout in the wet box. And when I got up to the line, I was like, man, that was a good burnout. Like, this is going to be a good run. Cause like my tires are super sticky. And then I was like, wait a second. Like, I hope they're not too sticky, if you know what I mean. Like something's got to
right,
give. And sure enough,
right.
it wasn't the wheels that gave. It was the axle that time. So yeah, it was fun, but it was still a good time. And I mean, racing's racing for the most part. But
Sure.
I agree, it does belong on an actual race course.
On a road course. Well, I talked to a lot of performance shops around the country, and I got a real good friend down in Houston, and he told me back early on when I had my 21, and actually it was 3 years ago this month, I drove there to see him, and he said the weakest part of that car is the axles, and he goes, I get sick and tired of adding so much boost to the engine that they call right away, hey, I just broke my axle, I broke my axle. He goes, so screw it. He goes, now I put upgraded axles in every package. You just need to.
Yep.
Makes
See,
sense. Yeah.
everybody, whenever I made that video, everybody said, "Oh, time for upgraded axles," and I was like, "Man, I don't know. Like, you put up upgraded axles, and now you transfer the weak point down the line, and what's next? A $40,000 dual
Right.
clutch transmission? I don't know. Do I want to do that or a $200 axle? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I solved the problem by not drag racing.
That will work too. All right, so Chopper Larry's back in for membership. I appreciate it. Chopper Larry actually won the Solar Performance Throttle Controller from Christmas,
Oh, cool.
and I guess it looks like he got it, so that's good. He's going to enjoy all of the benefits that come along with that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We were talking a little bit ago about, and I forgot to mention this too, about the Grand Sport and the auto stop start and this new motor. The other thing I found in some of the build sheets, found a number of codes and stuff like that. This does not look like it has the Z07 performance package, but it looks like the standard tires are all season tires, just like the E-Ray. I
Wow,
thought that was interesting.
that is interesting.
Yep, it says all season tires. There's no performance packages in here, so it's interesting to see how that's going to be. I think the Grand Sport is going to be very diverse and will have its performance packages. You've talked about it, I've talked about it, and I assume that'll be the case as it was in the past as well. I was looking though to see. I don't see on this car the ceramic brakes. Yeah, I don't see those on this particular build. But again, there's a new code, JX6, and there's no description, so I'm not quite sure what that is. Same thing on the sheet I'm looking at. It says LS6 with no description, but we already know what that is.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious on the brake thing. I wonder if that could be some sort of new compound of some kind, because that's probably a rotor description, right?
I was trying to find another build, before they actually start making retail cars, and I was not. Let me look at this one here while we're talking, and I was not able to find it, but I could have swore I saw a Z07 early on, made before all this stuff came to be. Yeah, it's not in this one either, but again, I'm confident there's going to be a performance package upgrade for that car. It just makes perfect sense, especially in a wide body format.
Okay. Yeah, Chopper Larry says, agreed. For the few times that the drag strip, you don't need to transfer that stress upstream into the trans. I mean, depends on what you're doing. If you're really going for top speed drag strip runs, you really don't have a choice. You're going to break axles. And I mean, if you're willing to just dump money into fixing things, then do it. Tom Turner says, Justin and Rick, what a pair to draw to. Great to see two Corvette fruitcakes together. Lots of respect for you both.
Never been called a fruitcake. I love it.
Hey, I've been called worse, so I'll take it.
Me too. Yes, we have to be careful just what we say, because we know that every little thing that we say is overanalyzed.
It's scrutinized. Yep.
Yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do.
Right.
All right, guys. Shane says we're at 72 thumbs ups. Let's get that to 100. We got 5 minutes before we're half an hour in, which means we like to be at that 100 thumbs up level, I guess. So we've got more than 100 people in here watching by far. So let's hit that thumbs up. We can easily get there. Yep. Fruitcake Rick, says Chopper Larry. Yeah, this is a good question. So actually you have some information, maybe. Ricky E. Ray says, hey, Rick, what are the chances we'll see a Z06X? I read that wrong, by the way. So Rick does not necessarily have any information about that.
No, I don't. There's been a lot of rumors and conversation on it. And you and I both have done videos on that, seeing how the market would take to that. I don't have anything other than an opinion on that right now. And I think that having the E-Ray and having the ZR1X, I think is enough. It's unfortunate that that all-wheel drive propulsion system is just misrepresented, and it scares people to buy it. It's unfortunate, but the E-Race here is going to be bigger and better for 27. For things that we've been talking about, Justin's been talking about. But as far as adding that element to Z06, I would, my heart says no. I don't think we need it. Let's keep it a track focused car that you can still drive on the street. You know, and I did the Z06 class at Ron Fellows a year ago, and I learned a lot more about that car and appreciate and respect that car a lot more. And it's incredible. I think we need to. It's not like they couldn't add it. I mean, the system is there to adapt very easily, obviously, but from a market standpoint, I don't know if it does us any good. We've got we're spread so thin now, and I've talked about this before too, where we need to have a little bit more focus and a little bit more consistency in each of the models to help us from a retail standpoint, overall production, supply standpoint, and also for used car values in the future. By not just building a bunch of cars and having no rhyme or reason to what we're doing, just building as much as we can when we can. I think that's the wrong focus, especially at the level that this car is now, in my opinion.
Totally agree. If you asked me if we're getting a Z06X ever, I would say pretty much the same thing Rick said. It might make sense for GM to do it as just like another form of revenue, but at the end of the day, I don't think it makes sense in the lineup. I think the Z06 is where it needs to be as far as being a track monster. If you don't want that and you want something more cruisable with that hybrid front motor, you get your E-Ray. I think that's where it makes the most sense, leaving it the way that it is.
Well, there's two things you got to think about too. Okay, let's just say that they did it. You're not going to see that many of them. I mean, look at the E-Ray. They've made more ZR1s than the E-Ray.
Yeah.
There's just no commitment to do that in any volume. So why do it if you're not going to make it available? Furthermore, the runway's getting real short, bro. We only got a couple of years left.
That's true.
C8, and then it's over. So
and with the Grand Sport coming in 27, it really only leaves us with maybe 2 years left of C8. I don't really know where you go from there.
I think we'll have three. Model years, I think we're going to have three.
Okay.
Well, it's 27, 28, 29, I think is when it's over. And in the calendar year of 29 is when you'll see the C9, which will be as a 2030 model, as I suspect right now. That's bounced around. I had some intel about a year ago. They were going to go to 2032, but I heard that has changed. So I think we just don't know. But and it doesn't matter. It'll be whatever it's going to be. But the plant shut down right now because they are, in fact, I think, working on trying to start production of some C9 prototypes, in my opinion. Don't have that confirmed yet either, but it makes perfect sense as far as looking at the timeline and learning what we've done in the past. It makes perfect sense what's going on right now.
And
we've
because
seen, it's hurting us, but I understand.
It's the way it goes every generation. And we've seen some C8 Corvette test mules running around out there that don't really make a lot of sense. Like we'll see a Stingray body C8 that's totally wrapped in camo still, and it's like, why? We've seen everything. That could be your C9. I mean, you literally don't know what's powering that thing, what's different on the engine side. You have no idea.
Right.
So very, very possible.
I know for a fact that a lot of the camo cars that we're driving around right now that say Z06, those are Grand Sports. So for whatever it's worth. That's why the windows are covered up. They don't want you to see the motor and stuff like that. The back windows on the coupes. That's why that's covered up, because and that's fine. We get caught up into the camo cars. That's kind of a cool mystique thing. But yeah, a lot of stuff is hiding in plain sight, and very well, like you said, the powertrain could be used for the future stuff. And I just don't think. And I think you've done some videos on this too, and I know I've done a couple with huge response. As good as the C8 is, I mean, what the heck can you do for C9? I think you're looking at minimal tweaks. Everyone's looking for another major change. I mean, we went leaps and bounds. A lot of customers said the same thing. When the C7 went to C8, and I had customers that had C6s and C7s in the past, and they got into the C8, they go, oh my God, this car's amazing. This is not a C8. This is C10. They just went way ahead. I mean, they were just taken away. And I don't think you're going to see that euphoria for C9. I think it will be amazing. The one comment I heard from one of my insiders said that he's seen the car already, and I loved his comment. He said, he says, GM's going to roll that thing out on stage, drop the mic, and walk off. He goes, that's how badass it looks. I go, well, that's great. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
I don't doubt that it will look like that, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure what you said is dead accurate, is that the C9 will be a very obvious evolution of the C8. It's not going to be a total 180 from the C7 to the C, like the C7 to the C8 was. The C9 is going to be more of a, here's a more refined C8 basically.
Sure.
And
I mean, look at the platform, look at the powertrain. I mean, yeah, you're probably going to see a lot of maybe some people are saying maybe tone down the back end, not so edgy, so curvy, so so cut lined, maybe smooth that a little bit. I mean, that's personal preference. So who knows? They're going to do what's going to work as far as aesthetics, so it looks good, but also so it's functional aerodynamically as well. So
yep.
we'll have to wait and see what happens. And
And
I'm not even worried. It'll be great. They've never disappointed us.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, I've been doing this since the C4 era, and every new generation, it's always exceeded our expectations. So
Yep.
I expect that to be the same thing.
Totally agree. One of the comments says make the C9 smaller and lighter. That's it. Screw the golf club trunk access. From what I understand, it was Taj that really pushed hard for the golf club stuff. With him not being
Makes
there
sense,
anymore,
man. It really does.
Yeah. With him not being there anymore, it is possible that they would cut that. We'll see. I firmly believe, we talked about this last time you were on, Rick, at 1,250 horsepower, where do you really go from there? And the answer is lightening up the car. That's it. Like, I mean, you don't just keep jamming horsepower into it. Eventually, aero and lighter weights materials are going to come into play here. They have to, because you can't just keep. I mean, we're going to have 3,000 horsepower on these things before you know it, and it's not going to matter because you can't use it. But
well, this is my first experience, especially in retail, obviously, selling mid-engine, but learning more about mid-engine and seeing guys that have traded Ferrari and McLaren, and that whole ass end is engine. I mean, what a great value story that we have an engine and we have user-friendly space. So I hope that they keep it, because I use that space. I use it all the time. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they can find a way to keep it and also lighten things up. I mean, the trunk and the frunk both aren't heavy, so that's not really the problem area. It's more the tub and some of the use of other materials that should have been more carbon fiber or magnesium even. I get why they don't use magnesium.
Then you're looking at dollars, though.
Exactly.
You start doing carbon fiber, it's just too much freaking money, man.
And you know damn well it's going to be on constraint. So like then the whole car can't be sold. So
I hate that freaking word.
No, I'm sure you do. Yeah.
Two things I want to point out real quick. I want to ask you something about your car. In a video you did, and something I just did as well, but I think you were the first one to do it. In regards to C9, real quick, I think the one thing we need, and I see it, and it's so upsetting to see taller guys wanting to get this car, they just don't fit in it. It's a little bit better in C8, but some way, somehow, I know they're trying to adjust the overall body mass, the center of gravity and all that, but can you get a taller guy in there? Is there anything we can do with those seat brackets? I know you got motors going on underneath there, and we don't want to be sitting on them and feel them in our butt like we did in C6. But I'd love to see a taller guy be able to get this car, because I have a lot of tall guys who want to buy the car, and they simply can't. They get in and their head's right at the windshield pillar. They just can't fit in it. What I was going to ask you is, I put on the air deflectors underneath the car like you did. Did you use the GM ones, or do you go aftermarket?
GM.
Okay, it's funny. I ordered them 2 months ago. My GM ones just came in, but Paragon sent the ones out to me and there's more of a 90-degree angle as the air draws in. It's the same kind of scoop. Very minimal difference in those two. And I've driven my car on 2 trips since I put them on. Are you noticing any noise from underneath there? Can you hear that air being drawn up in there?
No, but can you?
Yeah, I thought I did. I really did. I'm going to do it again. But I noticed a different noise, and I'm thinking, what is that? And I'm thinking, I bet it's those air deflectors. So I'm a little concerned with that, maybe. But I just was wondering from your standpoint. I'm going to talk about it in a future video on my channel. But I know you put it on, and you did, and it's too cold to do it right now. But you were the first one to do the heat variance on that. Did you do the temperature thing? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it's interesting you asked that, because I had somebody ask me that on my video, and I don't notice any difference in sound whatsoever. And I actually just drove my car 3 days ago, because it was actually nice here in Pennsylvania. I drove it, and still nothing, no noise that I can detect. And if there's anything additional getting into the engine bay as far as dirt or dust or whatever, it's minimal enough that I'm not even noticing it. So I don't see a drawback on these things. Now, my temperature readings were taken, the first day was being stock without them, it was 50 degrees outside. The second day, whenever I put them on, it was 52. So it was actually a hair warmer that day, and I noted as high as 50 degrees difference in the ambient temperature. I I wanted to make one thing clear, and I thought I did in the video, but I keep getting questions about this. I noticed no difference in the operating temperature of the car, of the oil, the coolant. Nothing changed in that aspect. It was only the ambient temperature in the engine bay and the pieces of carbon fiber in the engine bay, the trunk lining in the engine bay. That stuff all was cooler, which I'm okay
Yeah, well, you
with.
got to remember those vents wouldn't affect those other things you mentioned because they already have stuff set up to keep them cool.
Right.
So those vents have nothing to do with that. That's exactly right. I thought it would help me for tracking and stuff like that, but it was weird.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit of a windy day, but I noticed when I'm turning at a certain area, I thought the wind was catching it. I could have swore because I'm one of those nutty guys that I hear and feel everything in the car. I'll hear something like, shh, quiet, what's that?
Yeah.
What's that? I hear I mean, I do, and I think I'm right. I just want to drive one more time before I say anything. Of course, I've already said something now, but it does sound like it's it's catching that air and causing just a little bit of noise. But
I'm
it shouldn't be a
curious.
big deal or concern because they put it on the cars going over to Europe.
Right.
So I
Right.
mean, there's got to be a method to their madness. It's just weird that we didn't have it as an option, and why at least make it as an option, especially as a part. Like you get those ducts for your Z51
Yep.
and for Z06 and
Yep.
E-Ray. Why wouldn't you put that part of the racing package for cooling?
Yep.
I'm
And
just
see,
not shocked we
I
didn't get
said that in my video because I had my C7 ZR1 in the garage with me whenever I was talking about it. I said my C7, and you'll know this, the C7 Corvette ZR1 came with the metal pieces that you put on the tunnel brace to push air up in there and down along the exhaust. I said, this is almost the exact same kind of thing. Why wouldn't these come with the track package?
Right.
Your duct cool or your brake ducts, your underbody strakes. If you have the Z07 package, it should come in that same little bag. And I was like, it doesn't make sense
Right.
that they don't, because worst case, if you only do install them for track use, I cannot even imagine a downfall of using those on the track.
No, not at all. And it's too hard to get underneath there and take them on and off for street driving. So the other questions come up, and you've probably gotten the same question: is how about? And I think my customer Doc in Kentucky, if you're watching, I think you've done this, is put some kind of a metal mesh there because now you're drawing more air and there's a chance of drawing actual debris up in there, whereas before it would never get in there in that open area. So that was one concern if there was a screen. And I know some people say, hey, well, there's a guy that has a screen, but it's 3D printed. Well, let me tell you something. I just came back from California last June. Everything you go down there is like freaking 90-degree angle and your bottom of your car is scraping. Those things are going to crack them. They're destroyed. So you want to keep messing around with that. So I like the metal ones personally.
Well, and I totally agree. Initially, whenever I first started testing those, a friend of mine also did, Brandon's Garage. He was testing them at the same time, and he noted that the 3D ones, or the plastic ones, could be 3D printed. And immediately when I saw the design of that, I said, first off, the design's wrong. Second, that plastic is so flimsy. As the air's coming in, it's going to literally push that bend. It's going to push it down, so it's not even going to do anything. And sure enough, he tested them.
What does the heat do to that plastic too?
Right.
I mean, start changing the shape of it and stuff. You know what I mean?
And he tested the 3D printed ones just for giggles, and he literally noted no difference. And I said, I'm not surprised.
Okay. Interesting.
So yeah, very, very interesting stuff with this, because it seems like it's got to be a very specific design to work the way that Chevy wanted them to work, which is really odd when you think about the fact that we're talking about just a piece of bent metal. But it's like the 3D printed ones, I don't know if you noticed or not, instead of installing straight on like this, a lot of them install at an angle, which again makes no sense. I don't know why they'd be doing that, but yeah, it's just the 3D printed ones are not.
And I don't have enough data on it. And yes, they put it on the cars, as we said, for the overseas cars for everyday driving. But I think personally, the best use of that is for track. So a lot of people, hey, should I put those on my car? I'm trying to keep that cooler. It's like, here, if you're not tracking the car, I just don't think there's a real need personally. I don't. I mean, here we're in the 7th model year of this car, and it finally has come up as a conversation.
Yeah.
I think we're good. But from a performance aspect, I like it.
I agree. The only reason I would put it on outside of that is that it did seem to keep my engine, the trunk in the engine bay cooler, which.
Yeah, I mean, you got people in California, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, warmer states like that. That's probably not a bad idea either for everyday driving. That's a good point.
Yeah, and I really, with how not low, I should say, that they sit, I don't see it ever being an issue. But either way,
I mean, they're this much, man. I mean, they're just, I mean, literally just that much. I mean, I think the jacking pucks hang lower than that.
Yeah, they do.
I wanted to measure that. My car was just up, and I wanted to see the difference there. I mean, they're about the same or a little bit less.
Yeah.
So I have to verify that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what you find though, as far as the sound. If you really drive and you're really listening to it to see if you're really noticing that difference, or if it's just a
I
placebo
wouldn't
because
have
you
said anything
know.
if I didn't think I was right. You know,
Okay.
but I think that I am right on that.
Huh.
Because it sounded like it was coming from the passenger side and it sounded like it was coming down low. So I'm like, oh, it's those freaking ducks. I'm listening. I turned the radio off and I'm listening, and I just wanted to have a conversation. So before I had it on my channel, I probably was going to start talking about it tomorrow night on Tech Tuesday. But thanks for the late invite here, and gives us a chance to talk about all things Corvette, as you said.
Absolutely. All right, so let's talk about this is going to kind of funnel us into the one thing that me and Rick did talk a little bit about, and that is over at the Corvette blogger, we get this article about another round of super secret ZR1x allocations that were granted to select dealers this week. So for any of you guys out there waiting for a ZR1x, which I don't know how many of you are realistically in the market for that, but if you are waiting, Chevy has been like trickling out these weird secret allocations for the ZR1X. And I don't know anything about it, but I asked Rick and he kind of does. So
Yeah, I
without,
kind of do, and I kind of
I was
just
going
like
to
you. I
say,
don't understand what's going on.
yeah, without risking too much, if just tell us what you do know, if you can.
Well, I've seen a communication. We're not a part of that yet. It started in December, and everybody started talking about that. And furthermore, the X utilizing what the E-Ray has, and I don't think that was ever intended to be a volume car. I don't expect big volumes. I'm predicting one to maybe 200 of those things made for 2026. If they make more than that, I'll be shocked. I really, truly will be shocked. I mean, they're low numbers, but the communications that I saw in conversations I've had with other dealers is that if you got one of these, you had a very limited amount of time to give them an order. It wasn't the normal order cycle process. You had to give them an order number, and the list of constraints were ridiculous. And I don't know what it was for recently. I haven't talked to anybody about that because it was kind of a weird start to the new year for me. But back in December, I think there was 2 calipers you could get, very limited colors, of course, no high wings. So it's like, wow, really? And then you weren't allowed to go out and say, hey, I got a ZR1X allocation. And you weren't allowed to go on Facebook and Instagram. I got a ZR1X allocation. And some idiot did it. He went on Facebook. That's how a lot of us knew about it. Hey, I got a ZR1X allocation. It's like, okay, were you not in the meeting? Okay, shut up, you. It's just like, it's unbelievable. Furthermore, I heard that customers were told if you got one of these, they were requesting, not demanding, they were requesting in a nice way until things started moving, not to go and boast, hey, I just got a ZR1X allocation. And people go, what the hell's going on? So everybody's told to be quiet. Why? I don't know.
The only part of that that really made sense to me was that everything was on constraint. Because like that's just to be expected nowadays, I guess.
Dude, it was the worst I've ever seen on any model. And I said it from the
That
get go before ZR1 ever came out. It's like, okay, if we have to accept that we have constraints, that you can't control your suppliers, somebody get a bigger whip and get this handled. But okay, so we can't do that. But when you get this car, the pinnacle, the king of Corvette, and it's beating cars worldwide, cars that are 3, 4, 5 times its cost. How could you insult that guy because you have such minimal available? How could you insult that guy by saying, hey, congratulations, you got a ZR1. Oh, you want that? You can't get it. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't get that. Oh, you can't get that. Can't ruin the experience at this level.
yep.
There should be, if there's going to be constraints, this is the car, ZR1 and ZR1X, that should have no freaking constraints.
Yep. I
Oh,
thought
man, I'm sorry, dude. I talk about these constraints, and it's just, man, I get so frustrated. It has just handcuffed me from doing business because it goes beyond, and exactly what I said 2 years ago when ZR1 comes out. Watch the constraints mount in large numbers for Z06, and that's exactly what's happened. You can't get the carbon fiber high wing and that kind of stuff. So it's really unfortunate, and it's tough for us to deal with because we can't do our job
yeah.
in the manner that we need to and provide cars for the people, and specific stuff they want to buy. But it's hard for the brand from an advertising standpoint because now the constraints more of a conversation. Constraint never used to be this conversation
Right.
years ago. There was always constraints, but nothing like this. It was like it was an exception, not the rule. That's now reversed, and it shouldn't be a conversation. The consumer should not have to worry about a freaking constraint.
I
You know,
agree.
and if it is, it's one or two. It's not every single time. So that's a touchy subject with me, man.
I mean, I can only imagine, and I said the same thing with the ZR1, and I was one of these people where I was going to get first round 2025 ZR1 allocation, and then I was told you can't get ZTK. So I said, okay, I'm going to pass because I'll wait for the second round, not knowing that there wasn't going to be a second round. And then 2 weeks afterwards, where my allocation spot was already filled, then they said, oh yeah, just kidding, you can get the ZTK wing. And I was like, you mother, like, because that would have been mine. And then fast forward to today, where now these guys are getting the same call, only at an even higher price point, saying, hey, your car's ready, but you can't get any of this stuff. And it's like, man, like, it is wild that they do this.
Well, here's the other thing that frustrates me too, from a dealer standpoint. If we have to accept that there's constraints, and we have to accept that we're not going to get what we need in the quantities and what we need, then why don't you have a better controlled distribution process and not give those parts that are so limited to dealers that have stock orders? Why are they not reserved for sold orders only?
Right.
That really ticks me off.
I've said the same thing. It absolutely should be. And back in the day, Dodge, Stellantis, I should say, did this with their TRX. They stopped dealers from just ordering the TRX just to have it sitting on their lot. They were literally only accepting orders if they could prove that it was a sold customer. Right. They took a picture of my driver's license and had to send that in to them for them to even accept the order on that truck, because they weren't going to just give it to the dealership. And I said, why is Chevy not doing something like that? That's perfect.
Yeah, GM should not be accepting order on major constraint parts unless it's a sold order, in my opinion.
Totally agree.
I'm a top 10 dealer, whatever, and I don't think there's really any glamour anymore being whatever number such dealers. Just, hey, can you take care of your customers? Can you do it in a timely manner? Can you be flexible? Can you be fair? Can you inform the people properly? But I shouldn't be waiting 10 months for a freaking Z06 high wing.
I agree.
Just shouldn't. Nope.
Steven, Supercharged E-Ray, says the problem is easy to fix. Build a fixed number of these types of cars. Suppliers know how many, market knows how many, and the buyer knows how many.
Right.
That would fix it. So,
well, I did a video on this a couple months ago, and I got ridiculed for it. It was just how to control the marketplace, and I'll give you the synopsis of that. And I just arbitrarily threw out a number saying that we could control our destiny in the market and have a stronger market, making 25,000 Corvettes. And then you have to earmark how much percentage is Stingray, Z06, E-Ray, ZR1, ZR1x, Grand Sport, etc. Divvy that up. By doing that, you have a strong market. Dealers know you're going to get X number of cars. Now you can maintain your lists that we can't do now. You can get your suppliers in order. Hey, we're going to make this many cars this year, and this is how many pieces, parts that we need. And get it done and control it. And by doing that, you sustain a very strong market. You increase its value. You have a better buying experience for the customers, because there's no, hey, I don't know. I mean, I used to tease about that years ago. I used to say, I don't know, because we didn't know. We've never been in that environment until C8. And then you actually have a stronger used car market by controlling the distribution and not having inconsistency. And people are like, oh, well, the GM can't make money. How many freaking price increases have we had? You're not making money? Really? I think you can make money at 25,000 cars, maybe 30, but I think 25 would be the sweet spot, that there's a demand, they're sold out. You want them sold out. There's new 24s sitting out. I got one on my lot we bought from a dealer in Vermont. Why is there a new 24? But because we bought it in a package and moved some money around, we're selling it much cheaper than if I had ordered it from Chevrolet. But you wouldn't have that if you had some control in marketing, in distribution, and production, and just make sure everybody's taken care of, but have a different focus on the car. We're at a different level on the car now. Let's act like it. You know what I mean? That was just my thought. But I mean, you're on the same path of thought process there, and just wanted to throw that back out there for maybe some of the people in your audience that didn't see that video. So, 'cause I'm always thinking about the future of the car, and that's, here I'm 31 years in. I'm not done. I mean, I'll probably die at my desk. I mean, I love this damn thing. That's fine. But I'm always thinking about the future. I'm never a today guy. I'm always looking down the road. Always looking down the road, man.
Well,
so,
I mean,
yeah, let's go.
Chevy or GM in general, I would imagine, is doing the same thing. That's why they're likely testing the C9 as we speak, because, they're looking to the future as well. They've already nailed it with the C8 they just need to maybe nail it a little less, if you know what I mean. Like, make a little bit
Well,
less,
and I don't.
tighten up quality control.
Right. Agreed. Well, I was going to say, sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say, just, I'm not the most knowledgeable guy. I know a lot, but I'm probably one of the most, if not the most passionate guy representing this car. I do things other salespeople never thought about doing. And when I got my ass chewed about the Grand Sport LS6 announcement, and the GM rep was here, and we had a very direct conversation. He was very nice, but I tried to make him understand where I was coming from. And I told him, I said, tell the guy, he's sending an email. I said, in the email, make sure you tell them either they come here or I'll go to Detroit if you want to have a conversation, if you really want to know what's going on with the marketplace. Because they're always, that's why they come to the bash. They're getting information on what we like, what we don't like. So they'll make cars that we buy. But if you want to know who's really connected to the marketplace, and I talk to people from all over the country, sometimes all over the world, I'd be happy to share that data with them. And I think they can learn from that because I really give a crap about the car, about the customer, about our future. I always have. I always will.
And honestly, there's definitely something to be said about that, because at the end of the day, you guys are literally the front line. I mean, you're going to know more information about what people are ordering, what they want to see more of, what they don't care about, all of that stuff. So instead of coming in there and shutting you down and saying, oh, don't talk about that stuff, maybe they should be telling you more so, or asking you more so, your opinion on things and getting the actual information that people actually want. Because I mean, we've all worked those corporate jobs where the big head CEO is putting down all this information from way up in his ivory tower, basically down to the salesperson that runs at face value to the customer. And he's telling you stuff to say to the customer that makes no sense. But to him, it makes sense to his bottom line. But at the end of the day, it does not make sense for you to be telling the customer that kind of stuff. So you guys are the ones that have all of the knowledge.
Well, it would be just to get some good feedback. It would be nice to get some of the top dealers, top guys in the country together for like a round table once a quarter, even. Once a month would be difficult to do, but once a quarter would be great. What are people saying about the car? What do they like about the car? What do they dislike about the car? What do you guys need? What do just get some real feedback from ground level that's going to help them help us and help the customer. I mean, why would you not want that data? Information is powerful, man. It really is, and I think they're missing it.
Yep. Yeah, Ricky says, us enthusiasts, we understand the way or the market way more than those pencil pushers. And that is the case. The pencil pushers are there to make sure the company stays in business and doesn't hemorrhage money.
Sure.
But at the same time, a good way to hemorrhage money is making a product that no one likes. So talk to the people who are literally selling the product, who are literally advertising the product. Those are the guys that are going to have your best interests at heart. So I think at the end of the day, it's a lack of communication is what it is. The right people are not being asked their opinions. And I totally agree. If you were to go up to Michigan and talk to somebody in charge, they would probably come out of that meeting with a lot more knowledge on what they should be pushing and what they shouldn't be pushing. So
I'm hoping that somebody from GM's watching right now. I mean, and let's go back to what we were talking about earlier. Let's talk about the E-Ray. Let's not hide the fact that car has an identity crisis right now.
Yep.
What are you doing to fix it? What are you doing to fix that? If you want to play a game with yourself, go to a car show, go to a Cars and Coffee with an E-Ray and ask 10 people, where do you plug it in? 8 of them will be, I don't know. I think it's because they don't know. So if you know that's an issue, what are you doing to fix it? Because it's a great car. You developed a great car, gave us our first ever all-wheel drive car. What are you doing with it? You're doing nothing. And that's frustrating to me because it's a great car.
Yep, it is. And that's been kind of the reason why the rumors, at least, have suggested a Grand Sport X could possibly be coming down the line to help clear. And that's what that last time we talked.
Your E-Ray is the Grand Sport X, dude. Your E-Ray is Grand Sport X.
The main thing of that, though, is more so a Grand Sport X to change the name of the E-Ray because of the poor marketing behind the E-Ray.
Right.
And I could see something like that happening, but like we talked about last time, that's them admitting they made a mistake then. And that's not going to happen. So at this point, even talking to you, for them to hear what you just said and say, yeah, you know what, you might be right. That's them admitting they made a mistake. So I don't know that anything's going to happen. I think we're just going to watch the E-Ray fade off into oblivion with very little produced units just because they don't want to admit they made a mistake.
Well, they caught a mistake because of E-Ray, and I documented that. I had that on a GM document that the car was supposed to, the ZR1X was supposed to be called ZR1E.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my freaking God, are you kidding me? You're going to kill the car. And I think they realized that,
Yeah.
oops, this is not a good idea. And they changed it to, and now I don't like the X, and I've been very clear on that because I hear X. I don't know, damn it. I keep thinking about BMW. It's like, I
Yeah.
don't want to think about
No,
BMW when I'm
no.
talking about
Yeah.
Corvette. Get rid of it.
The only reason
I think somebody made one time, what did they say? You should have called it the ZR1 ZT for Zora Taj or something
Yeah.
like that. You know, something cool. I thought that was cool. But I mean, something is like, okay, so we've adapted to the X, but I personally I'm still not comfortable with it. But it's a hell of a lot better than ZR1E, man.
Yeah.
Because that would have been a turd in a punch bowl.
And honestly, if I had to guess, that was something they changed at the 0 hour, because if it showed up in that order guide as an E, and I remember when you said that, because I actually made a video on that like a day or two after you said it, and I had on the thumbnail that it was a ZR1E, and I was like, the next day they announced the ZR1X, and I was like, God dang it! Like, I had a feeling they were going to change it.
Watching.
What's that?
I knew they were watching because I did that video, and 2 days later, the ZR1E was gone. And then after they announced the X, then the same reference I was searching showed ZR1X. So I know that they were watching.
I remember you telling me that. We talked on the phone right afterwards, because when they announced the X, I was like, I mean, I get why they did it, but at the same time, the X was not necessarily a great, like you were saying, it makes you think BMW. They could have gone so many different ways with it. Like, literally, they could have just gone ZR1, checkbox, AWD. That's it.
Right. I was just going to say all-wheel drive. That's right.
Or initially, everybody thought the Zora car was going to be what the ZR1X ended up being, and it was a ZR1 with a Zora checkbox, which gave it all-wheel drive. They could have done a million things with that.
Let me ask you this. Are you still getting something? Because you talk to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people. I'm still kind of hearing that there might be a Zora car. Are you getting the same feedback?
Yes. And it's real wishy-washy, though. So I could literally see it going either way. But because I'll tell you this, without trying to get into too much detail here. Whenever the whenever the ZR1 was coming out, I had two really solid contacts. One of them telling me, guaranteed flat plane crank, don't even look at any other option, and the other guy saying it's cross plane crank, we couldn't get the flat plane crank to work. And they're both consistently right in the past. So I was totally torn between these two contacts, both right, but both giving me completely different information. So I was listening to the exhaust sounds, and sometimes the car sounded like a cross plane crank, and one time I heard it in a parking lot when it was still under camo, and I was like, no, that's a flat plane crank in that car. So they were definitely working with different engines. But here's the way to look at this again, is that just because it had the high wing and it looked like a ZR1 doesn't mean it was a ZR1. I mean, they could have been testing the Grain Sport at that point with a cross-plane crank engine, which it's going to have. So it's, whenever you would get this information, it sounds to me like sometimes even the guys inside GM aren't told everything, because they don't want these kind of leaks coming out. So the guy who didn't need to know,
some of the different departments aren't communicating with each other. I mean, that's pretty clear.
And for the guy that didn't need to know if it was a flat plane crank or not, he didn't know. But he was convinced he did know, when in reality he had no reason to know, so he didn't know for sure. I thought that was a really interesting way of seeing the fact that these departments on the inside of GM don't necessarily know everything about the car. They know what they need to know to make the car go forward. That's it. So
I think let's just talk positive that the car is going to happen. I think, and I said this about a year ago, and I think, and it looks like, because we're approaching the end of C8 in the next few years, I think it will happen. And out of respect to Zora, but we really, it's nice to see Taj's likeness on the windshield for the ZR1, because when I did an interview with Taj, we was talking about Zora and stuff like that, and Taj kind of, I love how direct he is. He says, well, Zora didn't do this. It's like, yeah, because Taj kicked ass and made the mid-engine happen beyond Zora's wildest dreams. But if they're going to do a Zora car, which we assume they are, I've always said you need to do it as a one-year only car, not mass-produced. It needs to be a numbered car, 500 or less, maybe 1,000, but I don't know if they can do 1,000, so probably 500 or less. And I think distinctly it has to look so different so there's not a question. That's a Zora. That's a ZR1. That's a ZR1X. They have to differentiate those models. I just have to do something.
So another thing, kind of speaking to that, is again, I'll say an inside source, but this is a guaranteed thing that is coming, is the ZR1X with a slightly different aero package, where you can get the ZTK aero package, but it's going to have 2 dive planes in the front. So one, your normal dive plane, and then above that, a secondary dive plane. I've seen it. I know it exists. We are definitely getting it, but 0 word or confirmation of that yet. So that tells me maybe it isn't coming on the ZR1X, and maybe that's a Zora thing. So that's the only problem, is that I don't know what front bumper I was looking at, but I clearly saw 2 dive planes and the same kind of front splitter that we have currently. So
well, if that Zora car starts having some of the horsepower rumors that we're hearing,
Right.
you're going to need something to keep that front end down on
Right.
the ground, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so really interesting stuff, but I agree. And initially I said the same thing about the Zora whenever we were still thinking the Zora was what the ZR1X ended up being, that it was likely to be limited production. It was probably going to be pretty expensive, and it was likely to be towards the end of the C8 line. And honestly, we're getting close to that point. So, I mean, we can't be more than a year or 2 away from at least seeing a Zora announcement, if it's going to happen.
Let's face it. We know what the market conditions are going to be, and if the car comes out and it is what I said it's going to be,
impossible.
you're going to see your first $500,000 car.
Yep.
Maybe more. I mean, it will be crazy. Most of the people buying that car probably won't even drive it, as long as the car delivers what it should, and it's not just a name badge, and it's not just a fluff. If it, like it says, like you said, it has an additional arrow and things of that nature, and it is really something up and beyond anything else that we've had, which has been magnificent within the C8 lineup. So it would have to be that swan song, if you will. And I've always felt that was kind of going to be the case for that Zora branded type car. So it'd be interesting to see what happens.
So one other thing I was going to talk about a little bit here is that the ZR1, the current ZR1, is actually up right now for Road and Track's 2026 Performance Car of the Year. It's no secret that this car is absolutely phenomenal. So this isn't really something that should come as a large surprise, but it is consistently nice to see that the C8 Corvette in all of its performance variants continuously showing up, winning awards, even this far into the generation. So, I mean, I think that's fantastic.
For people who's like, hey, well, that's great for the ZR1. No. If you're a Corvette person, it's got to make you feel proud, because Corvette as a brand is being acknowledged at that level, regardless of what you have. It's Corvette, and it's the conversation everybody has. I think it's a good thing to be associated with. Absolutely.
100%. And the thing is like this particular day, we're talking about the ZR1 winning the Road and Track award, but if you rewind back throughout my Monday Night Lives, you're going to see the Stingray winning awards, the E-Ray winning awards, the Z06. All of these cars are consistently outperforming their class. And yes, just like Rick said, a win for the ZR1 is a win for the Corvette. And if you're a Corvette guy, you just won. Like that's an amazing thing. Yeah. It is. It's great for America. It says 10 seconds Z06. I like it.
Yeah. Back in the day, before I was in the car business, I remember we used to have a ritual, and I was doing home improvement stuff, and we'd always get together with the shop guys and the installment guys and the salespeople, and we'd always have breakfast every morning, and have a conversation. And cars was always up in the conversation. So I can only imagine the Corvette conversations that are happening at breakfast all over the country.
Right. Professor Corvette says, Rick, what will it take to get a Zora allocation? I'm willing to give up my firstborn.
You will be on the list then, sir.
That's funny.
Thank you, Rob. You're awesome, bro.
Yeah, he's always the comedic relief here.
He's a real deal, though, man. He's smarter than you and I put together.
Oh, dude, some of the stuff he says, it's like he may actually be the originator of Corvette. I don't even know. Like maybe Zora was just a placeholder for Rob.
He's a smart guy, but you know what? He still can't beat me in autocross.
Ouch.
He's going to be so pissed at me that I said that. Hey, you're invited, Rob, this Saturday at NCM, but I guess you have an anniversary. So see you next time. Love you, buddy.
It sounds like Rick's trying to get him divorced.
No, not at all.
Let's see. Robert Brunn says, I'm daily driving a 26 ZR1 right now, and it's an amazing car.
Wow.
Someone's rolling in it
Hey,
over here.
what are you gonna? Not to steal your show. I love some of the conversations, and I've been able to take you off your beaten path. And I don't really have much to say about it. Are you going to talk about the ZR1 crashing at the drag strip?
Yeah. So that was the next topic here was, of course,
Okay.
if you guys haven't seen this, just keep in mind it's not for the faint of heart. This is
Yeah.
a wrecked ZR1. And the thing that's really, really upsetting about this wrecked ZR1 is happened at a drag strip, but it only had 600 miles on it. So
you shouldn't have been at the
I was
drag
just going to
strip,
say, you
but
probably
okay.
shouldn't have been there to begin
Yeah.
with, but God, it still
Nope.
hurts to see that picture. Like that is just
1,500 miles, boys. That's
Yeah.
the performance break-in.
Now, here's the thing: is there's more to it than just the performance. You gotta consider tires. These tires are brand new, still have like tires shipped from factory. They have like this oil coating on them. It may not be oil. It's some sort of coating. You're supposed to drive on those tires for a while to burn that coating off. I don't know exactly
Right.
how long you have to drive on those, but something
Right.
tells me it's probably a little longer than 600 miles to really get down to where your tires are getting the proper amount of traction. That combined with the fact that the people over on the thread here are talking about the prep in the left lane. This right here says a guy that went before him actually flat out said that the prep in the left lane sucked. His all-wheel drive TRX blew the tires off at launch. That's the same lane that the ZR1 was in later. So it is very possible that there was a tire or a track prep issue here too. But to go even further with it, this car was a ZTK aero package car. So not a ZTK car, but it had the aero package. And that means it came with the 4S tires instead of the Cup 2Rs. Does that make a huge difference? Probably. And you don't have the wing on the back. I get it. The wing limits your drag strip time, but it also provides enough downforce that it may have stopped that from happening.
Well, you saw when he took off, he got a little squirrely, and he probably never really got solid again before he got back on gas, and later that hurt him. But I was just going to say, to divert from the ZR1 conversation, performance driving in general, to really appreciate, like you said, all the break-ins and stuff like that. The best video I ever found out there was from Chevrolet. Search on YouTube, Chevrolet My Way Z06 break-in. When they talk about the tight tolerances in that motor, you'd be terrified to do what that guy did at 600 miles. You'd want to wait till 1,500 miles. It's incredible. You guys need to watch that video, man.
I watched that. I studied that video multiple times after getting my Z06 because I wanted to make sure that I was
doing because you had a Z06. Right. That's right. Yeah.
There was a lot of good information on the break-in in there too because it was it Holder? Yeah, it was Josh Holder talking, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and some of the guys in the plant, the brake linings, all that stuff. Absolutely, man.
Yep. Yeah, it's more than just the engine. I mean, everything in the car, you gotta think it's going from cold sitting on a shelf to now being installed in the car and operating. Like you can't just cold shock it like that. You got to ease it into it. So break-in makes a lot of sense on any car, but the Z06 being the tight tolerance and being that first flat plane crank from Chevy and everything, you want to follow these break-in procedures for sure.
Well, with that being said, too, I mean, that's probably why, and I'm sure it's why, we don't have the engine build program anymore because the tolerances are so tight, you can't risk anything. It was a great experience for customers, but they need to be able to do this and make sure it is just dialed in. It's very specific. And now when you I don't know if I think, well, the plant's down right now, but when plant tours are back up, they got a little section that you actually go in the performance build center now, and you can see some of the engines. Before that was always blocked off. So your tour actually involves a little bit of that area, and it's just impressive. I mean, it's really impressive. I went to the old performance build center when it was in Wixom, Michigan, when they were making the C6 ZR1 motors up there. And that you could have ate off the floor up there. It was incredible. It really was.
It's interesting because last year at the Bash, I talked to I think there was 3 different the people who were actually building the engines. One of which I didn't talk to him about this, but one of them was actually the guy that signed the engine that was built on David's car. So three different guys who actually build these engines, and I asked all of them. I said, I really wanted to do this. I really wanted to do the engine, the build experience. And I said, when do you guys think that that's ever going to happen? Like, and they all looked at me. They're like, we haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, I bet it don't.
And it's like, how
too much of a risk.
And I mean, I've heard from pretty solid sources, at least twice, that they were like, oh yeah, next year it's coming back. It's going to be back for sure next year.
Right.
And then nothing. So,
No. I mean, they wanted it to come back because it's $5,000. I mean, they were looking at it from a money grab, but I think at the end of the day, looking at the big picture, it's just that much more difficult to
yeah.
build that engine, more so than people realize. And it's not as cookie cutter as it was before in C7. My customer, in fact, was the very last customer to do the C7 engine build for a Z06. And this guy was just an engineering marvel. He was the perfect guy to do this. And it was wonderful. We had just an hours upon hours conversation about his experience. He gave me a disc, and he didn't even realize there were like 700 pictures on there of him and his son doing this thing. It was just incredible. But he was the very last one to do that. It was, and if I could tell a quick story there, he got along so well with Kai Spandy that all of a sudden shows you that everybody's watching what you're doing in that plant. So he and Kai, they're talking. He and Kai are talking, and they're walking around. All of a sudden, Kai wants to take him over here and show him here. Kai gets a phone call in real time. Who you with? Why are you over there? It's like, what?
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
like, are you kidding me? And my guy goes, oh my God. He goes, I got the plant manager in trouble. He goes, we were just having a great conversation, and he wanted to show me the stuff. And it was great for Don, but he was just like, he witnessed it and told me that. So it's like, wow, that's a little scary. Big brothers everywhere.
Steven Supercharged E-Ray says that my local track wouldn't have cars on it at 48 degrees. And the driver should have known better. Most people have no idea how fast the ZR1 is. These are all true stories. Steven actually drives the ZR1, and he's been on the track multiple times with it. So he knows better than most. The ZR1 is not a car you want to mess around with. And the time that I drove one, I went out and I drove street speeds. And that car it's a 25, so it was so familiar. I'm in the car, I started up, I'm driving it along, and I'm like, man, I have one of these, my Z06. It feels exactly like a Z06 until you put your foot into that gas. And I was like, on the camera, I was like, all right, let's do this. I put my foot in the gas, and immediately the back end of the car goes sideways. I was like, nope, not a Z06. Like, it is that different. But up until that point, very similar car. But once you put your foot in the gas, like that guy found out the hard way on the track, unfortunately, or on the drag strip. He put too much.
I didn't know it was 48 degrees. Oh my God, why were you even there, dude?
Yep. And honestly, at 48 degrees, it would have been even worse had he had the Sport Cup 2Rs. So those do even worse in cold weather.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what it is on the performance tires. I'd have to look at ZR1. Usually it's under 40 degrees, but maybe that car's under 50 degrees. So he was right in that window that he really shouldn't have been there to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, either one of the tires is not great in cold weather, but it's the Sport Cup 2Rs are even worse.
Right. I tried my Z51. It was 20 degrees this morning, but I got all season tires on it. Yeah. I put those on for my dailies, and I have the ZR1. I have the Z51 tires for different track applications, whether it's low speed stuff, what have you. This thing I'm doing this Saturday, I'm probably going to roll with all season tires because I think the highest temp is going to be 40 degrees. So yeah. It's just going to be low speed through the cones and the paddock area. That'll be a lot of fun. So we ain't going to do any damage there.
Yep. And just so you guys know, there's one final picture of the ZR1 here, and it's a heartbreaker. Look at that. Up
on the flat bed.
On the flat bed, all wrecked. And the thing that's funny is, like, right behind it, you can see a pretty decent time. Looks like 9.9 quarter mile back there. So this poor ZR1 just it didn't get to do it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people in the comment section of everything that I've seen for this video of this car actually wrecking, a lot of people are questioning the driver's experience level, why he was driving when it was so cold out. All these things come into play. Sure.
Track conditions.
Yeah. And it's like, it's scary because, I mean, obviously the ZR1, none of these cars, even the Stingray, none of these cars are cars that you want to jump into not knowing what you're doing and just floor it. I mean, you have to respect these things to some degree. And the ZR1 obviously is the most. That is not the car you want to mess with. So.
Right. Yeah, I agree, buddy. I agree.
Anthony George says, any new mods coming, Justin? Yeah, I actually have a video right now of a new mod that I'll be putting out probably this week. And another 2 big ones coming probably the first week of February. So stay tuned. And they're big. They're big. Cool. They're going to be cool. You guys are going to you're going to love them. Anyone want to use ZR1? Yeah. Honestly, the front part of that, I mean, I'd have to see it in person, but based on what I saw, it doesn't look that bad. If that car was offered up as for sale somewhere for a good price, might be worth it.
Yeah, I bet the condensers and all that stuff are destroyed, man.
Yep.
There's a lot of piping there, man. I bet
true.
there's more damage than meets the eye in that thing. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I think somebody even said in the comment section earlier, all the big stuff is in the rear now. So like, yeah, radiators, condensers, tubing, but that's the cheap stuff.
I bet, I don't know. I bet there's 20 grand worth of damage there.
Oh, easy. Maybe even more, knowing the fact that 90% of the stuff you're going to need is going to be on constraint. Oh, I hate
That's
it.
not even funny, dude. But he kissed that wall pretty damn hard, though.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah, he did. Oh yeah.
There was,
and just and think about how it would actually shift and twist the body, possibly.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so you really have to look at that. I mean, there's a chance that thing could just be out of whack and never be lined up right.
I would not be surprised if they total that. Odds are very good they're going to total it. I'm saying, like, if you wanted to be that guy who goes out there and buys it and fixes it, you might get it for a good price.
Yeah, I know body shops have ability to straighten frames, but I mean that needs to be looked at before they would even do anything else, in my opinion. Absolutely.
I've seen way less damage total a Corvette. Corvettes in general are the way that they're built. It's a strong built car, but when it gets wrecked, usually they total them if it's even remotely bad.
Well, yeah, it's supposed to look bad because the car's taking the hit to protect the occupant.
Exactly.
It
yeah,
really
and the guy walked away.
I did a video on my channel and not understanding the nuances of YouTube, and it was upsetting to me because I really thought it was a good story to learn from my customer. And I won't say what speed he was doing, but it was extremely fast, where he overcorrected, passing a car and came back on lane, rolled the car, triple digits, convertible top down. He and his buddy walked away from it, rolled the car 5 times. And I told him, I said this in the video, but YouTube took all my descriptions out, took all the promotion out of it because I showed him bloodied when he was sitting on the gurney going into the ambulance. But I told him, I said, dude, look what's still standing tall.
Yep.
I go, it's your windshield pillar. People don't realize that supports 2 1/4 times the weight of the car. And he's a tall dude. He goes, you know what? He goes, that windshield saved my life. I said, you're damn right it did. Yeah.
That's 100% accurate. Yeah, the car's designed, crumple zones and everything's designed to save you, not the car. So,
yeah,
great point. And
it's built like a race car.
Right. How about that?
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, the guy that wrecked that car at the drag strip, he walked away. So technically, it did what it wanted to do, or what it was meant to do. But they may still be totaling your new $250,000 car, and that would hurt.
Yeah. Remember that car that got stolen at Bowling Green? It was a ZR1, and the guy hit the wall with it. It was nothing like what he just did at the drag strip. But I always wondered, we never were able to see the VIN number. I wonder what happened to that car. Did they fix it and resell it? I mean, because that was a sold car. That was a 25. What had, looked like it kissed the wall, and he was running from the BG police. Kind of curious whatever happened to that one.
We got a question from Chopper Larry. He's asking how Chuck is doing.
He's really sore. I texted him tonight, trying to get a message I could share with everybody. Thanks for asking, Larry, by the way, that I can share tomorrow night and Tech Tuesday. Not heard back from him. His procedure was last Tuesday. He says, I'm in a lot of pain and I'm really weak. He's supposed to come back next week to work. I don't know how that's going to work out, so I'm waiting to hear back from him. But got through the procedure just well, something to do with his heart. I don't really have many more details than that. Hopefully I have a message to share tomorrow night on Tech Tuesday.
Good to know.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Okay, let's see.
I can't see the question, so if you got some stuff, throw it out there, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to read them as they come in here. Yeah, someone was saying that Chuck could fix that in a couple hours. I don't think he does any kind of body
years
work.
ago. His famous line was, that car missed a date with the car crusher.
Yeah. Does Rick know how many 2025 ZR1s were officially made for customers?
No, just all we have is that report that the National Corvette Museum put out, and that report is inclusive of every ZR1 made worldwide, including GM executive cars, show cars, CTF cars, whatever happened to those. So no, we really don't know. I'm guessing low 100s, 110, maybe 120, but somewhere in that range. I mean, really no numbers though, guys. Just ridiculous. You never thought they were going to be that low.
Nope.
And I think from some of the early sources that I was talking to is that the ZR1 was always slated to be a 26 to coincide with the new interior, but they fast tracked it because of Tadge's retirement. So now we start wondering, did Tadge want to retire? Was he forced to retire? What happened there, man? I mean, I don't know. So, but yeah, I was shocked. I mean, it was like that close that we didn't have a 25 ZR1.
I'm glad we did, because the people who got a 25 ZR1, they're sitting on a
Yeah.
gold mine.
Yeah.
Let's see. That's a good question, actually, and I'm pretty sure the answer is yes to this. Do you even have insurance when at the drag strip? My insurance policy has exclusions when racing at any track. You do have to have a special kind of insurance really to protect yourself. I know even going down to a pit race, I'm assuming you probably do this too, Rick. There's companies out there that will sign you up for track day insurance. And usually it's not even horribly priced, assuming you're, not a NASCAR driver. But
right. Pit race, I spend between $700 and $800. What would be for a weekend? And what they do is your deductible is 10% the value of your car that you deem. So if you say my car is worth 250, then your 10% is, as such. So that's how a lot of companies that I've worked with do it. The drag strip, they do offer their own insurance policy. I don't know how that works, but I know for road course stuff, I do that. Now, autocross stuff, I don't do track insurance. That's just a waste of money. What's a rubber cone?
I was going to say, you're going to hit a cone, right?
Yeah, big deal. But on the track, in case something happens, and I went off pit race in the last day, I'm thankful that I applied my training, that I didn't oversteer, I didn't lock up the brakes. I went off at 105, came right back and controlled the car. But had I locked up the brakes in that turn, going downhill off camber turn and into an apex, there's a hill that goes up like that. I probably potentially could have rolled the car, or I would have went right up into the wall. So I'm real thankful at my training. I'm constantly thinking about that. I'm constantly trying to better myself and learn and understand the nuances of this car. It's so important. I talked about that just recently. Justin, I was coming to work on Saturday and was almost hit head on. And had I not had my training, I probably would have been hit head on, and who knows what would have happened. It was an early morning, gray car coming around this corner. I could see him in the distance, and it's a double line as we approach this intersection. And I thought he was turning left. No, this a-hole actually passes the guy in the intersection, and he's flying. So if I was going faster, could have been a different outcome. All right, I'm doing maybe 5 miles over the speed limit as he's coming right at me in my lane. And by the time I realize that he's coming right at me, it's almost too late. So instead of locking up my brakes and just hanging on and staying there and just trying to come to a stop, which he would have slammed right into me, I quick tapped the brakes and then tried to just slow the car down and just try to control. And then I got back on the brakes, and he passed me a foot, maybe not even more, 2 feet from me at a high rate of speed. I thank my training, and I tell people, I did a shorts video and I said, please, whether you ever intend to track or not, take a high performance driving class. It's a lot of fun, but you're going to learn stuff that's going to save your butt. I really believe that.
I said from the very beginning, when they released the ZR1 specs, it being 1,064 horsepower, I said, you should be mandated to go to Ron Fellows before you can take delivery of that car.
Said the same damn thing. Absolutely. And I agree 100% you should. Yep. So logistically, they got to work that out. So if you don't have, you're not taking a car and you're giving the guy the course before he got the car, and all of a sudden he backs out of the deal. It's like, oh, crap.
I would say everything's signed, everything's ready to go. The guy just doesn't take delivery of the car yet. This is actually a good question that came up here, and I was actually going to ask you this anyway. What happened with the monochromic roof?
Oh, I don't know. I'm glad I'm glad you mentioned that. Looking at, I don't even know how to say that. I always say it wrong, so I'm sorry. That multi-tint roof you're talking about, the one that's $3,000, is that the one you're talking about, Justin? Yeah. On some of these 27s that I ran, I was doing some research on, which are experimental VINs only. that CF8 code comes back up. So is that coming back for 27, or are they completely done? We won't know until we actually get into 27 ordering an official, order guide and that kind of stuff. But they're on some of these cars I looked at before tonight's show.
Okay. So Professor
For
Corvette's
27.
actually the one that told me how to say it correctly, because I was saying electrochromatic.
What is
It's chromic.
I
Electrochromic.
said chromatic. It's like, oh hell, can you just come up with an easier name that's not a mouthful?
Right. Auto dimmable. There you go. Problem solved.
Yeah, multi-level tint. I mean,
yeah, right.
Come on, yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, that's a good point. Steven says you should receive the ZR1 at NCM with 2-day training.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah,
it's a good suggestion.
That's another good one. What happened to the front end, the glowing Corvette emblem?
I don't know. It's funny. I ordered so much for stock, so people could see that. I don't know if it's available. I've never seen it on constraint.
I've never seen it on a
The-
car, period.
The illuminated emblem, but there's restrictions on how you order that. You can't do it with the stealth badges and that kind of stuff. But I just not ordered one. So I think next time I order something for stock, if it's available, I'll probably order one so people can see it. Yeah, I totally missed that one.
Larry asks, ZR1 hood, Justin? No. So the mods I'm talking about actually do not include that, but that is coming as well. So can't say exactly when that one's going to happen, but I know it is coming. Does Rick think the ZR1 has more than 1,064 horsepower?
Yes.
I think it's underrated as well.
Yeah, without question, absolutely. Because you got to think about this too. I think with some of the stuff we saw at Paragon, with my customer Michael and Steven, who's on the show tonight, and the dyno tests immediately proved that. And I think when they did their validations and all the stuff they needed to get for the EPA, that's what it rated. So they had to go with something. But the SAE number and all that, I think it is much more than that. And they probably regret not waiting a little bit. Probably, like I said, there was a time crunch there. They couldn't wait, so they could actually get into retail production. But most certainly, I think it is more.
GM has done a lot of underrating on their engines. A lot of their engines seem to be underrated, so that doesn't even surprise me.
Right.
Professor Corvette says, what happened to the mysterious front fender carbon fiber trim that was on the configurator at one point? Whenever the ZR1 first came out, I don't know if you remember this, Rick. It had
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
Yep.
So I think
you're talking about the piece that goes around the wheel well?
Yeah, it didn't go all the way around. It was just in the front. But I think that might actually be part of the
ZR1x or the Zora.
That extra dive plane thing I was telling you about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Probably ZR1x. That's right.
Yep. Between ZR1x or Zora. The thing is I saw the front bumper. I don't know which one of those cars it's going on. I just assumed it was the ZR1x because the arrow looked the same otherwise. It was just an extra dive plane.
Yeah, probably is.
Camera guy says, I know this question got lost in the feed, so I'll ask again. There's whispers of C8s delivered to the SRT headquarters in Auburn Hills. Is this common for competitors to receive other brand vehicles?
I believe that it is, yes.
I don't know.
I remember early on, GM went out and bought Ferraris, to study that before they made the mid-engine. Yeah, so yeah, there's knowledge is power, man. Absolutely, learn all you can.
100%. All right, so 136 thumbs ups currently. That's good, guys. Let's keep going with the thumbs ups. Someone's saying an audio issue. I'm not seeing any audio issues on my end. Let me see if I hear any on the phone.
Everything sounds good on my end. Sorry. This could be their internet feed.
Yes.
All I know is we had nothing specific to talk about, and we had one hell of a conversation so far tonight, man.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like, these live videos are just Corvette guys doing Corvette stuff. Yeah. But I think we're pretty much done. I don't want to take too much of your time, Rick. I know you got better things to do. So, guys, I think we're going to pretty much wrap this up. It looks like we're kind of done anyway at this point. So, smash the thumbs up if you can, of course. Big thanks to Rick again for joining us. If you guys liked it, smash the thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section before, after, whatever. If you guys like this, let me know if you want us to do something like this again. Just two Corvette guys talking Corvettes. I mean, that literally could be the title of this live. So
appreciate the invite.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, Rick. Appreciate it, guys. We'll see you same time, same place next Monday night. Stay obsessed.